All right, all right. Welcome back to another Wake Up Humans podcast. What's up, Big Drew? How are you, brother?
What's up, man? I'm good. It's another rocking Monday. We love
It's
it.
today was a test, man. I had to throw someone out of the office,
That's always a tough day.
and he wanted to challenge me. He didn't want to listen to the recommendation, and we're going through a growth, man. We had our busiest week last week, and it's like, I was telling my new doc that's working with me, Dr. Christie. I said, it's like the universe will test you when you grow.
Yeah, if we're going in the right direction, I think there's always going to be resistance.
Yeah, yeah.
If
And
it's
listen, you got to
easy,
stand your ground. Yeah. It was just a matter of time. It was a matter of time. And then it was funny at the end of the day, the neighbor came over and they put a new light for the parking lot. And he goes, "Well, that's shining right on my house." I'm like, "Well, then move. Well, you should have bought a different house. There's a giant fence in front of it." I'm like, "There's nothing I could tell you." But I
no.
went out there and dimmed it. We'll see if it dims for him. It's like you're on a high, and then you get these little stupid situations, and you just got to deal with it and move on. And it's like I told Dr. Christie, you could see
Okay.
5,000 people in a day, and that one person that you have a tough time with, you'll think about them all night.
Yeah, and we have to get good at letting go of that little crap that just holds us back. Like we said today, like we have to keep the main thing the main thing.
That's right. That's right.
If somebody wants to push back on recommendations and like, hey, you need to do this, and if
Yeah.
they don't need that, we have to stand firm in that.
Well, my reputation's the reputation. I'm not going to mess with that. And it's like, you're not going to come in and say, this is what I'm going to do. All right, well, go do
Yep,
it somewhere else.
yep, yep. It's like our reputation and their health are the important things.
And listen, I
You know?
care enough that what we're going to do works. And you have the time, you could do it. And it was just the energy was just off. And then the flip side is you got to protect your space. People aren't coming in and respecting what you're doing. You can't have that energy coming into your space. And it's okay to tell them. I said, go somewhere else. Go tell them
Yep,
what to do.
yep. And for me, after I have interactions like that, it fires me up.
I was pretty pumped, man, for a good 40 minutes. I had to like really just dial in my focus and you know, uh, and it was a good learning curve for
Hmm.
the doc. We talked about it afterward, and I said, look, I have waves of emotion right now. She goes, I can only imagine. I said, that's normal. It's okay,
Yeah,
but you got to move beyond it for the people coming in and for the rest of the week and the growth.
yeah. And our office is our baby.
That's right.
It's our baby, and it's a vehicle that we get to help the world live a better life.
Yeah, it's a sacred space, man. You gotta protect it. You gotta treat it as such, as a sacred space.
Yeah, and even just last week, somebody's wanting me to do some other stuff to them that's not chiropractic, and I'm like, last month I have told them 3 or 4 times, like, get up, talk to them, explain what we do, and he's like, well, you told me this, why don't you just do it? I'm like, listen, it would be quicker for me to do it instead of
Yeah.
getting you up and explaining it to you and getting it backlogged in the office. But it matters that they understand why we do what we do and why we don't do what we don't do.
Well, we had a patient come back today for their day two, and he's telling me how awesome he did after the adjustment, and he was able to play pickleball where he hasn't been able to do that for 9 weeks, and he's going on and on. So then he starts talking about the chiropractor that he left to come to
Mm-hmm.
me. He's up the road from us, and he was talking about this other stuff he does, and will I be doing that on? And I literally laughed out loud. I said, "Why didn't you stay there?" Because I wasn't getting better. And I said, one adjustment, you play pickleball this weekend. Why would I reproduce that? I said, we do chiropractic here. We do chiropractic here. And that's what you're signing up for, and that's what's going to change your life.
And there's no surprises. This is what we do. I've got a picture, it's down right now, but I got the idea from Walter Sanchez when we went down to his office. He had this old picture up. It's like a glass plaque looking thing. It's huge. And it's got like 12 different languages. And you don't know what it's saying. And then you get at the very bottom and it says the only thing spoken here is chiropractic.
See, I love that.
That's it.
That we are honed in right now is this word principled, right? And I guess there's a website out there now. It's a directory for principal chiropractic, which I think is a wonderful idea. I mean, I think DE just needs to start its own site where people that come to DE that we know who they are. We just put their names and addresses. We did it with Band of Brothers. It's like a Chinese site now. We had a Band of Brothers site that's, I don't know what happened to it. It got hacked. Freaking chiropractic's getting hacked. People are using the word principal now, and they're doing all kinds of things in their office. So I had someone call, I had a couple people call me because they thought I was part of it because I'm being tagged in posts. So me and the gentleman that started it, we had a conversation. I called him, and he texted me today, and we went back and forth a bit. And he said he's doing the best he can to keep it principled, right? And I said, well, good luck with that, because people think if you bill insurance, you're not principled. If you do this, you're not principled. If you adjust below Atlas, you're not principled. And I said, look, the bottom line is if they're not doing chiropractic, which is anything but the adjustment, it's not principled.
No.
It doesn't mean they're bad people.
Yeah, I mean, if a plumber does electrical work on the side, it doesn't mean he's a bad. He's just not doing just plumbing.
He's a handyman.
Yeah, he's just a handyman. That's right.
He's just a handyman. A handyman make less than a pure plumber is going to make. I mean, a handyman has to do handyman to try to make ends meet. My friends that are real plumbers make millions plumbing, or electric that focus on electrical. One of my best friends is one of the biggest electricians in the state of Connecticut. He makes a really nice living doing electrical.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like when we were in school, we would hang out at Marietta Diner. Marietta Diner's got a menu that's 20 pages thick.
I can't read.
You can get everything from pizza to Greek food to quiche to you name it. And it's edible. It's not bad. But then if you want pizza, you go down the road to Baby Tommy's. Yeah. And the only thing they sell is pizza.
They're out of the Bronx, aren't they originally? Or Brooklyn? I think they're from Brooklyn.
Yep.
Yeah.
Baby Tommy's.
That's right.
If you want real pizza, you go to Baby Tommy's. If you want some whatever, it's mediocre pizza, you can get it at the diner.
Maybe we go there where we'll be at Life in a couple of weeks. We're doing a mini DE intensive on campus for anyone that's around that wants to come by and get fired up.
Oh man, it's going to be so good. It's going to be so good to be back at Life University. Dynamic Essentials back at Life University. We had like a, little mini DE just for some student leaders, maybe 5 weeks ago?
Yeah.
And they were fired up, man. There's maybe 80 people there.
Yeah.
Fired up. Like these kids are ready, man.
Well, they're primed, man. They're primed. And they need to be primed on what chiropractic is, right? How's that Atlas?
And what chiropractic is not. We know what chiropractic is, but what is it not?
That's my dilemma right now, is because I want to stay positive and just promote what it is without having to talk about what it's not.
Yep.
And unfortunately, it's even some people that were great leaders in the past are doing everything but chiropractic, and they're using these other avenues just to try to feel significant. And it's not chiropractic. Like, I think our voices just need to promote what freaking chiropractic is, because if you look at us and our crew that got it, it was going to DE, hearing these guys just building up what chiropractic is, and they lit our fire to serve the masses through chiropractic. We need more of that.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a lady come in today. I forget who it was, but she was talking about how it's a breath of fresh air not to be sold anything in the office. Not to be sold anything. And we don't sell a thing in the office except the patients on themselves and their own ability to heal.
Yeah.
That's the only thing we sell.
I had a day 2 last week with a guy, and I said, look, it's the only time I talk negative. I got to show you your x-rays. And I said, here's how often I need to see you, and here's what it's going to cost. Any questions? He said, that's it? I said, yeah. He goes, that was the easiest sales non-pitch I've ever seen in my life. He's a salesman. Yeah. And I said, it's black and white, brother. You want to get better, you'll follow through. He said, let's do it. And we walked out. He handed his credit card to the front desk, and that was it.
Yeah. It's really that simple. It's that simple. I saw the daughter, which is now a teacher, and her dad this evening. I see them every week, and like the whole family comes in, but saw them today together. They never get in together. But the first week I was open, they showed up, and they've been there. This will be 20 years this November.
Beautiful.
Every week, every week. And it's just like family. You know how it is. They're family.
Yeah, I got on late with you. I got on the phone, a patient in Connecticut. She's having a tough time and had some issues and ended up in the hospital. And she's been coming in for years, didn't show up tonight. And the staff called right away. And the mom's like, yeah, we ran into an emergency. and the young girl's in the hospital. So I called right away, and the father's like, "How did you find out?" And I said, "My staff called me, like, we love you." And he's like, "Man, that," he goes, "You don't get that in many doctors' offices." I'm like, "They knew something was wrong when you didn't show up because they come every Monday at the same time for 10 years. And it turns
Yeah,
out this is the first time they haven't come without a phone call. And she's in the hospital, the poor little soul."
yeah, and we don't do that stuff as a marketing, practice management, practice growth BS. We actually care about them.
I love them, man. I love them.
We care about them.
Yeah,
We'll go to their house when a baby's born, when a parent dies, whatever. We're there because they're family.
that's right. That's right. And they'll look out for you too. I had a patient passing by the office yesterday, and he said, "What the hell's going on there? There's a bunch of cars there, you know?" And he was wondering, "Is everything okay?" I was like, it's good to have people around you that care.
Yeah, yeah, cause I have a couple of guys that they'll go by, like if we're off at DE or somewhere just the weekend. Hey, there's a strange car parked in your office. You may go check on them. Yeah,
Right.
go check on them.
Right.
Tell them to leave.
The major premise there is when you're good people and you take care of you, they take care of you as well. They look out for you because it bonds a relationships that's not based off of taking, but based off of serving. And that's part of being a principal chiropractor, because to be principal and stick to chiropractic, you're realizing you're taking a, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? A price cut. You're
Yeah,
not upselling. You're being fruitful and honest to what this profession is designed for, which as
yeah.
an entrepreneur is not the best decision because,
No,
I had a guy approach me years ago in my office. He was a big entrepreneur. He said, "You're missing out on a lot of profit centers in this office." He said that whole corner could be set up basically like a GNC. You could have traction, you could have this, you could have that. And I said, "That's not what I'm designed to do."
no.
He said, "You leave your money on the table." I said, "Good, I'll leave it."
Yeah, it's that idea fix A, like Dr. Sid would talk about, like what is our purpose in life? I know mine is detect, correct vertebral subluxations. And if more people would speak up and speak out per capita, the last 20 years we have lost market share per
Yeah,
capita. Less people's coming in to see the chiropractor.
yeah,
That's crazy. It's
yeah.
it's insane. If they knew what we did, they would be in line out the door.
We have a woman and her husband who probably had 6 different people follow them to the office last week, and they would guide them into the parking lot and say, "Good luck," and they drop them off as new patients. Like when people get it, there's not a billboard. You don't need a billboard. These people go out. I call them my disciples,
Yeah.
and they're just going in and bringing people to the office.
Yeah. And people that you don't even realize, like this one guy, not long after I opened, he sent Miss Leanne in. She still comes in, like maybe the second year I was open, 18 years or so. And now, no telling how many people that she has referred, and then this guy came like 3 visits, but he still refers people.
That's
He's moved
funny.
away. Yeah, he's moved
Yeah,
away.
yeah.
But he still has family here, and he tells everybody on Facebook, hey, go see him.
They get
You
it.
know, yeah, and it's really too when we treat people right. When we're giving them respect and not just taking them for a ride at all. We're just loving them, taking care
Right.
of them, adjusting them, clearing them out. Say, I'll see you next week. Bring a friend.
Yeah. And they do it. That's how we built our entire practice, man.
Did I did one spinal screening since I've been open. I'm not bragging about that. I need to do more. But a friend of mine opened a funeral home, and they were going to have like a open house after he'd been open about a year or so. He like, would you want to come have a table? I'm like, not really. He like, would you please? We need some tables there. I'm like, all right, I'll come. So I showed up. I put some water bottles out, some business cards, and then I went and looked at his embalming equipment and stuff. Wasn't even a real screening,
See, I thought
but
you were joking the first time you told that story, but I've heard you tell it enough now that I'm like, this is for real.
yeah, no, it was a funeral home. It was shoot, man. You go where you go. It don't matter. Like wherever people are, I want people to know what we do.
And it never turns off.
No,
It
no,
never turns off.
no. We got one switch.
Yeah.
One switch. Love the Lord, want to serve people. And that's
Amen.
really it.
Amen. Yeah. It's a beautiful thing,
We've
bro.
got one life. We've got one life. What are we gonna do?
Yeah. Right.
You know?
And what's that country song? I mean, I think it was Leonard Skinner, "Burning Out." It's better to burn out than fade away, or something like that.
Yep, yep.
So it's
And
so
Leonard
true.
Skinner sang "Simple Man." Simple Man, one of the best songs ever.
One of the best. Simple.
Yeah, it is.
Keep it simple.
And I hear that song, I think of Tim Langley.
But yeah, bro. You know,
He was
Tim,
nothing.
he was one of a kind, and he was never the same after that hip replacement.
No, no, that just done him in. And people wonder, and we're not against hip replacements, but you can have it anytime. But once you have it, you can't unhave it.
Yeah.
You know, and just talking about knowing where we stand. Last week, 2 physical therapists started up in the office.
Yeah.
Yeah, and their kids are PT school. They're coming in tomorrow because they know exactly where we stand. You know, I'm not trying
Bro,
to do PT.
our problem is not other professions and physical therapists. I got a physical therapist in town referring us people.
Yeah,
When I met him, they were working with Sierra because of her ACL.
yeah,
He was so excited to hear that we do just chiropractic. And he's probably referred me 9 or 10 people in the past month. They're not our problem. Our problem are weak
nope.
ass chiropractors trying to be everything else but a chiropractor.
Yeah, that's not. I don't know if they're not confident in their adjusting. I don't know if it's not confident in letting people know what we do or what, or just maybe they just feel smaller because you're not doing like freaking biofreeze on a shoulder. I don't know. Woman come in with her TENS unit she got from another chiropractor. Like, do you know how to use this? And I'm like, I don't have a clue. It looks like a Walkman. Like, where does the headphones go?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you know, I don't know. And she's like, are you serious? Don't be smart. I'm like, no, I'm not being smart. Like, we can Google it, but I don't know what to do. And I'm proud of that. I don't want to know what to do.
You don't need to, man. You free up the nerve interference and the body heals itself. You know, I had a guy in today, he's 66 years old. I said, I'd be lying to you if my job was to get you out of pain. You're going to have some achiness and pain the rest of your life, but your life's going to change by living clear. And he said, that makes absolute sense. He said, I've beat up this body. He was a college football player, and, you know, and he just wants better function. He wants to adapt, you know, and it made sense to him when he saw his wife changing. He said, I want some of that. And he read the book. He got my book from his wife, who he sent every new patient home with the book. And he read it right after her. He said, I finished that freaking thing in 3 days. And he said, I
That's
knew I
awesome.
needed to come in. I said, well, I'm not here to get you out of pain. You're going to be limping around and gimping for the rest of your life, but you're still going to be moving with power.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
But when
Oh,
we're clear, when we're connected, we have the best chance to be as healthy as we're ever going to be.
that's right. That's right.
And if you don't know, there's the book. Wake Up Humans.
Wake up humans, baby.
That's it. Order yours now. Wake Up Humans.
And listen, I owe a bunch of our DE brothers and sisters a state of gratitude because I think after the last DE, I think we've probably sold about 15 cases of it, of people that are picking it up and giving it out to patients. And I really appreciate that. You know, not from a financial standpoint, because people that know me, it's not about that, but about
Mm,
spreading the word. And that's what
yeah.
matters most. And I got a letter from a guy. I got to tell him thank you. But I guess in there, I talk about the guillotine that Dr. Sid used to always talk about. And he told me I had the wrong year that the guillotine was invented. As a disclaimer, I guess the guillotine was invented a little earlier than what Dr. Sid was always telling us. But I'm not going to change it. I could care less when the damn guillotine was invented, but it was basically the first subluxation. You know what I'm saying?
Yep, yep, it was. And that's they dropped that down. And think about, all right, I've used this example tons. Where let's say you're happy in the mornings. You're doing around the house, you got your cup of coffee, you're ready to go to work. You go to your car, you get a little pebble in your shoe. You
Mm,
go to work, pebble still in your shoe, you just limping a little. You work all day. By the end of the day, you're just kind of irritated. You don't even know why. It's that pebble in your shoe. You get home, you're mad at your wife, you're mad at your kids. You take your shoe off, there's a little pebble in the bottom of the shoe, and it didn't even break the skin, but it changed you, changed your
oh,
whole attitude.
oh,
Now
yeah.
think about if that pebble is up here on your brain stem. How are you going to be? You're not going to be a good human.
You're not going to be right.
Nope. Impossible. Impossible. And what we do every day is just remove those pebbles from the brainstem.
So listen, man, more chiropractors need to talk about the pebble, the pressure on the brainstem, talk
Yep.
about the atlas, and we keep talking about it and get thousands of chiropractors talking about it. And that's the movement we're creating now. And that's one of our intentions with this IFCO thing is
Yep.
to get more chiropractors that are like-minded under one roof, but out there speaking the truth, not just in seminars anymore or privately with each other, but to build up that fire to get out there around the world to spread the word of the subluxation and the atlas and the brainstem and how devastating it is to human potential, period.
Yep. It's and I know us and our little crew, what we talk about on here and at DE, that's what we talk about in the office. It's not like a different language and different verbiage in the office. It's the
Right.
same.
That's right.
You know, other day there was a little boy come in. He was in trouble because he'd been mean to his sister, and I'm like, dude, you need to freaking get adjusted. Like, what's wrong? Like, that's your sister. You need to love her. Let's get you cleared out.
That's what parents call it, the attitude adjustment.
It was. It was. It lit him up, and today they come in. They're back loving each other again. That's how it is.
Now imagine leaving that pebble on the brainstem for years, what
Oh
that
yeah.
potential in that child becomes toxic. So great job, my man, spreading the word, brother. That's why we do what we do, and that's why we do this podcast and we record it, and it's getting out there and spreading. We got Kairos now sharing this to their patients, which I think was pretty cool.
Yeah, and even I mean we've been overseas, but now it's just growing overseas now.
Yeah,
It's everywhere, bro.
everywhere.
It's everywhere. It's
So it's good
I'm going
stuff.
to Scotland here Memorial Day weekend and reach out to some chiropractors over there. He's like, oh yeah, I've heard of this. I've heard of
Yeah.
dynamic essentials and wake up humans. I'm like, yeah. Well, I'll come by and see you real quick while I'm there. You know, we're gonna get him to DE.
I am Wallace. Well, listen, man, I love you, bro. And for everybody out there sharing this, we appreciate you. And let's keep it up and keep telling your friends, man. We got to spread the word of what we do.
Yep, awesome.
God
We're
bless you.
always here. We love y'all. Appreciate you.